course, you see him on the NFL Network. Our guy, Brian Baldinger. Insider calls are brought to you by Old Spice. Men have skin too, and by Wise Snacks. No one does crunchy, salty, or cheesy better than Wise Snacks. Baldy, good morning. Gresham Fourier, how are you, man?
I'm doing good, guys. Good to be with you, man. Thanks.
I'm curious for your reaction since we know there isn't the sense of finality here in New England, Baldy. I'm curious for your thoughts on Mike Vrabel. What you watch all the games, kind of what's gone on the last 2 years. I know a former player's come out and said, hey, listen, Vrabel isn't the problem. How do you view the Tennessee situation now that they've told Mike Vrabel your services are no longer needed?
Well, I was just there on Sunday in Nashville, and I saw Mike, and I saw they look like a team that should be going to the playoffs. I mean, they were so much better than Jacksonville. Every phase of the game, from the first play of the game when Derrick Henry ripped off an 18-yard run, they looked better coached, better prepared. They played harder, and they played smarter. I mean, but that's who Mike is. He's a great coach. And what I like about Mike is he's not one of these coaches on the sideline that's got his head in these charts and looking at the menu and, like he's like just large and in charge. I mean, he's just literally like, if Derrick Henry just, rips off a 29-yard touchdown run or something, he's got his arms wrapped around him. If the left tackle jumps off sides on 3rd and 1, like he's like in his face. Like he's just in touch with his players, with his coaches. Like he's totally plugged in. And I know sometimes body language and all that kind of stuff doesn't say that, but it says a lot to me. It says a lot to me how on top of everything he is, he's a great candidate. There's been friction in that building ever since John Robinson got fired last year and A.J. Brown got traded when he said, as long as I'm going to be here, A.J. Brown's going to be here. The next thing you know, they traded him. So there's been friction in that building for a long time. Mike's not going to be a free agent very long. He'll be signed pretty quickly.
So, Baldy, we're dealing with a major storm here. Are you in the bunker?
Yeah.
Or are you looking out your beautiful window in Florida? What are you looking at right now?
No, I'm not. I'm going to Florida today to do the Hula Bowl. I'm going to go down and get to know these kids. But, we just had a nor'easter hit here in New Jersey yesterday.
Okay, so good. You're miserable. Like, good. I just want to make sure you can't rub it in our noses like you did last week.
I'm not going to do that. Okay. I won't do that to you today. Okay. I might do that to you next week.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So I'm assuming you would think the candidates for Vrabel, like I think there's going to be a lot there. And I saw that they were talking about trading him. The Titans were, but they feel like the timeline didn't work out. I'm curious if you think this, who would be who needs him the most?
I don't know. I mean, maybe the team that you're, in the backyard of right now. I mean, look, the Patriots, the Falcons, Washington. I mean, just pick a team. There's teams that have coaches that are under contract that I would shoehorn out of there to put Mike Vrabel in there. So I don't think anybody should feel like they're safe if Mike Vrabel is available. Yes, I mean, he's everything that you want in a coach. The idea that, these players, I don't care how much money they make or, all that stuff. Like, you got to be motivated. You got to have a purpose. You got to have a vision. You got to be motivated. And I feel like, this is a team that he was probably told, play Will Levis. But I think if he said, give me Ryan Tannehill every day, especially the way he played on Sunday, give me Ryan Tannehill, give me Derrick Henry, give me a couple offensive linemen that can play. I'll go battle with you anywhere. He's played without his best defensive player the second half of the season, Jeffrey Simmons. I mean, and all they did was compete all the way to the end. I don't know. I think there's 6 or 8 teams that would love to have Mike Vrabel.
Brian Baldinger, Odyssey NFL Insider. Of course, you see him on NFL Network. He's with us with Gresh and Fourier. He's flying down to the Hula Bowl. What do you make of the sort of timeline that's gone on in New England right here, Baldy? I know there was a lot of talk of the decision's been made, but the Band-Aid hasn't been ripped off. I'm just curious for where you land on this because it's really a lot of speculating, a lot of guessing, and a lot of trying to figure out if Robert Kraft has conviction in doing this, then why hasn't it been done yet? Which has led everyone to think, well, maybe the guy's going to be here another year. What's your read?
I mean, we've all seen this team just in 2 years go from 2 years ago, they were the 6th ranked offense in football. I mean, there's nobody even close to how bad they are right now. and you could change coordinators. You could do a lot of things. I mean, look, it's not getting any better right now with what they're doing. And sometimes everybody needs a change. Like I think there's going to be a change, and it's going to be a good change. Not it's not any disrespect. I think Bill can still coach for sure, but it looks like Mr. Kraft's. I mean, you can't look at this product every week and say we need a change. You can't say, well, we can fix this. I don't think it doesn't look like it can be fixed right now. I don't care who the coach is. And so, I mean, I think they got to basically, because it looks like a bad expansion team as it is right now. So I'm watching just basics, though, like Christian Barmore's in a 3 technique last week, and he's getting hooked by Laken Tomlinson. Like, that doesn't happen to Belichick's teams. Like, like you'd get pulled off the field. Like, just the things that we used to say, like, this is what good coaching does. Pad level, all these things. Like, it's not a good product right now. It's a terrible product. I can't believe the fans that went out there in the snowstorm to watch that on Sunday. So Mr. Kraft's looking at the same thing that we're all looking at, going, how do we fix this? And staying the course. I don't know if that's the right decision right now.
Yeah, I know it, and I guess, and I think that since Vrabel was suddenly released, I think it kind of jolted things a little bit with the Krafts as far as what they're willing to do with Bill as opposed to what the option would be with Vrabel. So what about Mac Jones? He didn't start. He was was inactive on Sunday, and what I think was because they were going to they're going to trade him.
Well, Trent Brown came out yesterday, and there was a report up here, Baldy, of Trent Brown saying, yeah, Mac was set up to fail. Like he was, because Trent Brown was critical of some of the choices that were made in free agency on the offensive line from a guy who was out there trying to debunk the narrative that he only plays when he wants to.
Yeah, but I guess the question I was going to ask based on that was, what happens to him? What do you do with him?
Well, I mean, I think we all have seen enough of Mac Jones. It's not a personal thing, but he looks like a backup quarterback. He doesn't look like a guy that elevates people around him. And Trent's probably not wrong. I don't know that Trent needs to be the voice of any franchise at this point. But, but I feel like we see, like at some point you just see enough. And you don't see the things necessary to elevate a team around him. And that's what quarterbacks have to do. They got to. Now, you can say, okay, well, you're throwing to Jalen Reagor and some of the guys that they're throwing to out there, and you're like who would be successful with this? And I could say Gesicki. I mean, I could go through the list of guys, but it's poor. It's not good talent. It doesn't look like it's coached in this in the modern era of football, how to win games right now. And so you could say, well, you set up to fail. That might be true, but I think we've seen enough of Mac. I think the league has seen enough that I don't know what you could get from Mac Jones. I don't care what round he was drafted in. He doesn't look like a first-round pick. He doesn't look like a guy that's going to have a long future as a starter, a successful starter in this league. People move on from guys like that. They've seen enough. You could say Zach Wilson. You go through the list of, Desmond Ridder. Go through all these guys. I mean, it's hit or miss to begin with. And so how much more do you need to see? And, okay, if you put him in San Francisco, would he win some games? Yeah, probably. But, I mean, even Sam Darnold's thrown an interception the other day. Like, Sam Darnold's a backup quarterback at this point.
Insider Calls brought to you by Old Spice Gentleman's Blend Body Wash, providing exfoliation plus 24/7 miniaturization because men have skin too. Baldy, what are the 1 or 2 playoff games that pique your interest the most this Super Wildcard weekend?
I mean, they all do to some degree. I'd like to see – I'm curious about Miami. They're going to play in sub-zero weather, but they're going to be reasonably healthy. I want to see the coach and that track team in Kansas City in those elements and to see if they can overcome them and if the speed shows up and the creativity is there. Like, I'm curious about that one. I'm highly curious about Green Bay and Dallas. Green Bay, I think Matt LaFleur is a fantastic coach in every way. I mean, the creativity, how they run the ball, the diversity, how all these young kids became successful in 1 year. Like, And I don't think one player, is under more pressure than Dak Prescott to produce and to win in the postseason. And so, if it's 23-20 in the fourth quarter, that camera's going to be on Jerry Jones biting his fingernails, and going, is this one going to get away? And then I think, the Rams going into Detroit, because I love the Rams. Even last week, the 49ers put their starting defense out there on the field, and Carson Wentz went right down the field and scored on him with Ron Rivers, running the ball, and not Kyron Williams. Like, they just look like they're ready. They're ready to go wherever they got to go and take care of business, whoever they got to play against. Those two games really intrigued me.
I like it, and we get big Hula Bowl breakdown. I like it that you're going to get a gander and a look-see at some of these kids.
Is the Hula Bowl in Florida?
Yes, in Florida now. I mean, I wish I was on a flight to Hawaii.
Yeah,
today.
right? It seems very confused.
Isn't it because they're
Can we call it something else?
No, but they're redoing the stadium in Honolulu.
They redid
I got
it.
that right, Baldy?
The Rainbow Warriors play at a new stadium.
I think they're condemning it.
Yeah. No, they're tearing it. They already built a new one.
Yeah, they have a tiny little stadium out there now. Yeah,
they have a stadium on campus now.
Yeah, but I thought they were redoing that to bring the Hula Bowl back because Baldy would rather be getting on the 2 o'clock to Honolulu, not the 2 o'clock to Orlando.
Just saying, change it to the Citrus Bowl. Change it to that.
Too late.
Well, it's not even played in the Citrus Bowl. It was played on the campus of Central Florida.
Right.
So it's on that campus stadium, which is good. I was there last year. We did the game. It was really good. It's good. A lot of good coaches. Brian Billick, Mike Smith, a lot of good assistant coaches that have been in the league a long time. So the kids are going to get good instruction. There's no NFLPA Bowl this year, so they're getting a much better talent this year. So I'm looking forward to seeing what some of these kids look like, and if the NIL money that some of these kids are reported to getting, if it's just ruined them, or if they really want to go get hungry and go compete. I'm anxious to watch that.
I'm glad you said that, Baldy, because that's one of the things I wanted to ask you about next week. That's a heck of a setup. Safe flight, friend. Have a good time this weekend, and we'll catch you next week, man. Thank you.
All right. Enjoy the games, guys. I'll talk to you next week.
There we go. Our guy, Brian Baldinger, with us on the Harbor One hotline. He's an Odyssey NFL insider. Insider calls are brought to you by Old Spice. Men have skin, too.